In Austin, I'm Mark Mullins. Local water advocates are pushing back against rocket testing that's set to happen at a Texas State University facility. The university announced a partnership with Crossbow Systems back in 2024 to eventually test solid rocket motors at the Freeman Ranch. Reporter Jessica Cha explains.
Water is really important to the San Marcos community.
We have this wonderful natural resource which provides drinking water to over 2.5 million people.
Especially as one of their major sources of water, the Edwards Aquifer reaches historic lows. So Virginia Parker with the San Marcos River Foundation says she doesn't understand why someone would potentially risk polluting it.
So Crossbow and Texas State have an agreement to test solid rocket motors. Texas State cares about water, so that's why this is really confusing.
Crossbow and the university announced their partnership in 2024, where they would build a facility to test these rockets at Freeman Ranch, which Parker says is one of the most vulnerable recharge zones for the aquifer.
The plume that each test will create, if you just picture like this big burst of steam, there are chemicals in that steam. That's going to land somewhere, and the next time it rains, it has a potential to end up in our aquifer.
A petition pushing this testing has more than 5,500 signatures. So we reached out to Texas State. In a statement, a spokesperson said that protecting the aquifer is their top priority. They say Crossbow obtained all required permits and complies with state environmental regulations, and all testing would be conducted under carefully controlled conditions designed to prevent contamination or runoff. KVUE also reached out to Crossbow Systems about how large the rockets they'd be testing would be and how testing would happen. After 2 days of calls and emails requesting information, the company has still not replied. Parker says with the nearest home less than a mile away from the testing facility, it's not a risk they should take.
And so why would we even risk contamination if they could just move it off of the aquifer?
Where water is important. In San Marcos, Jessica Cha, KVUE News.
A jury has sentenced a Liberty Hill man to 32 years in prison for trying to kill his ex-wife. In 2024, police say Clinton Harmon shot Brittany Harmon and her boyfriend Christopher Stewart. Both survived. Now, Brittany told investigators that she and her ex were in a child custody dispute. Last week, a Williamson County jury convicted Clinton Harmon of attempted capital murder. Investigators say Clinton Harmon and other family members discussed plotting to kill his ex and the judge in the custody case. Clinton's adopted father and mother were arrested on felony retaliation charges connected to the threats against that judge. Both of them are due in court in May. At least 3 Austin City Council members are publicly supporting renaming Cesar Chavez Street. It follows a New York Times investigation alleging the civil rights leader who died in 1993 sexually abused and assaulted women and girls. Dolores Huerta alleges that she had 2 sexual encounters with Chavez in the 1960s, one coerced and one forced. Huerta wrote in part, quote, "I am nearly 96 years old, and for the last 60 years have kept a secret because I believe that exposing the truth would hurt the farm worker movement I have spent my entire life fighting for." On Wednesday, Austin became the latest U.S. city to cancel its Cesar Chavez Day celebrations. The group Hispanic Advocates and Business Leaders of Austin, or HABLA, announced the annual march honoring Chavez would no longer take place out of an abundance of caution and respect for all parties involved. It was set for Saturday, March 28th at an East Austin library across the street from a mural of Chavez. Both sit along a busy street named after the labor leader running through the historic heart of Austin's Hispanic community. And that's where we spoke with one man calling on the city to rename it.
We as El Concilio, who initiated through petition the renaming of the street for Cesar Chavez, feel compelled that we have to be accountable and we have to be respectful of the women.
City Council member Jose Velasquez district that stretch of Cesar Chavez Street. He joined council members Vanessa Fuentes and Chita Vela, plus Travis County Attorney Delia Garza. They promised to start the discussion of renaming the street with the community at the forefront. Governor Greg Abbott now says Texas will not observe the Cesar Chavez Day holiday, and he's directing state agencies to comply. The governor is also encouraging state lawmakers to remove the holiday from state law altogether when the legislature meets in January. South by Southwest wrapped up on Wednesday night. This year was different, with events condensed into 7 days and spread out around downtown without the convention center. Reporter Daniel Gomez caught up with visitors and Austinites to gauge how they feel about all the changes.
The 2026 South by Southwest Festival is coming to an end. It's the cleanup to the yearly festival that fills downtown Austin.
I've come to South by the last 3 years, and this has definitely been the most chaotic one yet.
Carly Crabtree needs getting used to South by going by in just 7 days.
And last year it was a full 2 weeks, and the year before that.
Hello, awesome Austin.
But visitors like Paul Rose say the festival's been more inclusive with the consolidated schedule.
Because everything was happening at the same time, I think it did make it go smoother as far as the lines were concerned.
This is the first year without the downtown convention center, leaving everything more spread out. Mike Griswold welcomes the new layouts.
I know there's been plans of revamping this whole area long term. I think this was really great as far as having the Capitol here, having all these events.
And for Larissa Aguilar,
I really hope I can come back. I definitely recommend it.
it's the old South by spirit.
Definitely the community. I think I was really shocked at how friendly people have been. Every time I've been waiting in line or at a panel, everyone will just start talking to each other.
That has her ready for what 2027 brings.
And that was Daniel Gomez with that report. After 50 years in Northwest Austin, a longtime archery club may be forced to leave the parkland that it's managed for decades. Club leaders say the city of Austin owns the property and is now ending their use agreement. Reporter Brianna Perez explains.
For 6 years, the Austin Archery Club has been more than a range for Nalia Juarez. It's her refuge, her second home.
I came out here and I knew this was where I wanted to be every day. This was my quiet. This was my safe haven.
After decades on parkland in Northwest Austin, her safe haven is now at risk. The Austin Archery Club has managed 60 acres of the city-owned land under a 2018 use agreement. But in February, the city's Parks and Recreation Department sent a letter ending that deal, citing their right to terminate the agreement without cause.
Just as every person that comes in through that gate has purpose. Same way every arrow that comes out of my bow has purpose. And my purpose is being taken away from me. And that's not fair.
With over 500 members, officials say the 60 acres of land here was put to good use. Now they worry the distance people will need to travel to continue doing what they love.
Your option is to be indoors at one of the local shops, which is limited to about 20 yards. Otherwise, you're driving out of town probably an hour or more in any direction to facilities out there.
Clint Miller is on the board of directors for the Austin Archery Club. He says the decision came without any discussion or notice.
Zero cost to Austin. We really aren't a problem. In 50 years, there's never been any recorded negative incident on this property. So quite honestly, this is something that should be studied. It should be published. It should be awarded. And instead of that, it's being discarded.
If no changes are made, Miller says the space will need to be officially vacated by April 1st. The club is now urging city officials to reconsider and work with them on a solution.
This is my savings grace, and I don't know what I'm going to do without it. And that's very unfortunate.
In Austin, Brianna Perez, KVUE News.
Now, we reached out to the city of Austin about these concerns. A spokesperson told us a memo with more information will be released soon. That's all from us here in Austin. I want you to have a great day.